Okay, without further ado, we will begin our meeting. Debbie, take it away.
Thank you, Tatiana. Like Tatiana said, this is the second of our web-based meetings that are part of the START Parent Leadership Development Training Project. For this project, we've partnered with the New Jersey Department of Children and Families, Division of Family and Community Partnerships Race to the Top Early Learning Challenge grant. We'd just like to take a minute to thank them for their support and funding. I'd also like to thank the START team members who've worked to put this meeting together. Tatiana Dagrosa, Michelle Tyler, who's behind the scenes, and as well as Diane Malley, our project director, and Brenda Figueroa, who will be, you'll be hearing from her a little bit later on. So, if you remember the last meeting, we heard from some of the leaders of the Essex County Council for Young Children. Today we're going to travel south and talk to two coordinators from the Atlantic County and Cumberland County Councils. They're going to share some of the strategies that have been successful for them around child care and transportation challenges. We're also going to talk about some opportunities for mutual problem solving. And finally, we'll talk about upcoming trainings that will facilitate continued capacity building and sustainability within the county councils. So we have a full agenda today, but before we get started, Michelle Tyler, one of our START team members, will help us find out who's here. Michelle?
Thanks so much, Debbie, and good afternoon, everyone. So I'd like to share with everyone the first poll that we have, and we want to just find out, like Debbie said, who's in the room. So I am attending as the first selection would be parent member or my county, parent member of my county council for young children. Second choice would be parent or caregiver, not a CCYC member. Third choice, CCYC coordinator or staff of a lead agency. And then the last choice is stakeholder/community partner. So just give another minute or so. 33% of you have voted. If everyone could just chime in, and then I'll close the poll in about another 10 seconds. All right, a couple more votes coming in. So closing the poll now, and with about 72% of you voting at this time, the results are there. So 36% of you are a parent member of a council, 14% not a CCYC member but a parent or a caregiver, and then 29% CCYC coordinator, 7% from the lead agency, staff of a lead agency, and stakeholder or community partner, 14%. So thanks so much for giving us that feedback. So to continue with the webinar, Deanalyn from the Atlantic County Council will continue to provide information for you. Deanna?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to just be present with everyone here to share some of the strategies that have helped me along the way in my career in social work, and now as a county council project coordinator. So some of the experience of social work that I've had is being able to case manage in schools and work with students, as well as facilitating family team meetings, which is a nice blend of working with the families and DCTMP in order to create a plan, and also having some background business experience as well. The most consistent strategy and most effective that I think has helped me in every position along the 12 years has been friendship building. And so if you're listening today and you're thinking, wow, these are some great strategies, but I may not have some of the same experience, or I may have only been in the field for a few years, friendship building is something that is a natural skill that we all have. And some things that have been key in friendship building have been to smile, be kind, and be courteous. So those are just some things about the strategies that I have, and there's more to come as well. Next slide, please. So as you can see, as a project coordinator or as an agency representative, we all are looking for strategies on looking at different challenges that we have when working with the community and getting more of the engagement to come through. So we all have types of enrollment forms. Our enrollment form for CCYC, this is a condensed version. We look at what are the special accommodations that someone does need in order to support their participation in the council. So this is something that you would really want to look at as your enroll form to get that feedback. Is a potential council member or an existing council member, are they needing childcare? Are they needing transportation, whether if it's carpooling or whether if it's taking a bus there as well? Do they need translation services? It's key to have feedback from all diverse backgrounds within your county. Also, you would like to know if anyone needs sign language services for the hearing impaired. And also visually impaired. So as an agency provider or coordinator, you want to accommodate those needs for your council members and or clients. Also, are there any physical challenges? So every representative here, whether you're a council member, you know, make sure that you're communicating with your project coordinator so that they're aware of what your needs are. And that way you can have more full participation if there are challenges or barriers. Next slide, please. Great. So looking at some of the challenges in Atlantic County and looking at the enrollment form, one of the needs that was identified was childcare. So once a need is there, you want to look at various strategies that you have. So it took some brainstorming after looking at the area that needed childcare, and also what were the age ranges of the children and how many children would need childcare there. So these are some things that went into place. Volunteers. Things needed to be considered through the agency that I work with, and which is Robin's Nest. And so it was trying to identify, do we have volunteers on board with the agency that already have a background check? Of course, you want anyone that's around children to have the appropriate background checks that are needed. Also, looking at who would you partner with in the community? Are there other daycare centers that you could partner with as a project coordinator? Also, I was able to take a look at the grant proposal and the funds that were available. Was there anything identified as money allotted that could be spent on childcare? Also, considering parent rotation. This is something where within the meeting itself, there would be parents who maybe agree to help out, look after the children, or keep an eye out. And in a situation like this, to troubleshoot here with this challenge, as a coordinator, it was helpful for me to bring in a coloring book or a pad and pencil for the children to use. And if they're of school age, of course, you may want to see if their homework can be there as well. And I'm sure parents would be all for that. And these things help in a lot of ways in order for someone to participate. Also, you want to look at alternative ways. If child care is an issue or a challenge in order for someone to participate, you want to look at, can that parent or caregiver or community member call in? Can they call in during the meeting? Maybe the child is playing at that time, or there may be a short-term sitter or an older sibling that could watch their child while the parent calls in. Another alternative for child care is if a parent can't make the meeting at all, being able to meet up with a parent. So that's also important as well. and outcomes. So outcomes are, you want to look at how to make sure that your council members can attend and give the valuable feedback that they have on a monthly basis. So for Atlantic County, we were able to identify this child care need, and after brainstorming all of these different ideas, I was able to partner with a local daycare, looked in my proposal, and found funds along with my supervisor who helped, and we were able to hire a staff person from a daycare who had all of the proper background checks, who could provide the child care. This enabled for 70% attendance of the monthly meetings, again, showing that these were effective strategies.
So, Michelle, are there any questions?
Yes, thank you so much, Deanalyn, for sharing all that great information. At this time, I do not see any questions in the question box, so please, as was mentioned earlier, you can ask questions at any time in the question box, and I will share them at the multiple times that we have time to break in the webinar in order to answer any questions. I did want to mention, as I was reading the last poll, a couple of people mentioned that they are in groups listening to the webinar together. So although it was just one parent may have been listed as according to the poll, there were more parents in the room. So it's really great to do that, and that's a great way to let other people know when you have parents that can't attend, or for whatever reason, they can maybe come in a room together and share that information. So now I would like to introduce Daisy, who's also from the Atlantic County Council, to share some information. So Daisy?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you again, Span, for allowing me to come on here and talk a little bit about what's happening with the Cumberland County Council for Young Children. Like Michelle said, my name is Daisy Flitcraft. I've worked in early childhood for about 12 years, 2 of those years with the County Council and 10 of those as a teacher's assistant in a child care center. Throughout my 10 years working in child care, I've had a lot of time to build relationships with families and children and really understand the dynamics of what it is to bond with your child and really use every moment as a learning experience. So I've used my time to go to different workshops to learn about child development and really had a great experience really building that relationship with families. So it's given me a great background to work now with the County Council for Young Children, really having that experience to go out into the field and talk with families and meet families and start building that trusting relationship with them to get them to understand their important role within the County Council as an advocate for their child. So with that, I live in Cumberland County. For many of you who do not know, it has a lot of rural areas. We have 4 local meetings that occur. So we have meetings in Vineland, Millville, Bridgeton, and Commercial Township once a month. So transportation can be very difficult for a lot of the families to get around, especially to attend the meetings. So one of the things that we were trying to come up with was really where the families are and how easily accessible places can be, especially when it came to finding meeting locations and the time of day to have them. So we try to keep the meeting locations more of like a downtown area. So one of the for our quarterly meetings that we have every 3 months, we do try to have them in a centralized location. So we've decided to use the Cumberland County College, which is located right along bus routes. If families need to take a taxi, it's right off of a main highway that's more accessible to all families to come from all parts of the county to be able to make it to a quarterly meeting. Some of the different places that we've used for meetings would be family success centers, which are great community centers where a lot of families tend to go to for different resources, for different things that they need. So it's been a great place to host a meeting. I've built relationships with local libraries, so I've had a couple meetings there where a lot of the families can go to with their children. So as one of the examples that I'm going to share, dealing with the hardships of transportation and really meeting families where they are, is my commercial township area. It's very almost like an isolated area. They don't have a bus stop. They don't have grocery stores. So it's very out in an area where they don't really have a lot of resources and don't even have transportation. So my meetings in Commercial Township initially started at the Family Success Center in Port Norris. Although some families who use the center would come, it still wasn't easily accessible to families who needed transportation. So what I decided to do was speak with the director of the senior center, who is also a librarian in town, and she invited me to come out to her library. So when I went out to the library, it's on a main street. It used to be an old schoolhouse, so it's very homey, and she told me a lot of families come here because this is almost like their safe haven. It's in walking distance from, and they really feel comfortable coming here, so you might get a really good response from families. So I decided to just show up there once a week and start building that relationships with the families who would come in and use the library. So then I sat with the director and I asked her, I said, do you mind if I hosted, my meeting here once a month and kind of give it like a meet and greet kind of feel for all families who are welcome to come, who would basically just walk through the door with their children. So she allowed me to do that once a month, and it's been wonderful. I mean, the families come in and out who use the library. She designated the time for me to come in, and they already know who I am, and I get a chance to just sit with them and really talk to them and really find out what's going on in the community there and what they feel is a need or something that they really want to work on with the children in the community. So they're a very close-knit community there, and I'm very happy that they've graciously opened their doors to me, and they've built that relationship with me as well to feel comfortable enough to come every month and discuss different barriers that they have. But it's just a great opportunity to be able to use the community library and thinking outside the box and really meeting the community where they are and where they usually like to be, and be able to share ideas with them and also get great feedback from them as well. So that was a great tool for me, that I was able to kind of switch things up to be able to accommodate a lot of the families who don't have transportation, who need to walk to certain places to be able to meet their needs. So that was a great opportunity for me to do that. Like I said before, Family Success Centers have been really great. The college has been wonderful, allowing us to have a more centralized location for our meeting. But we also try to encourage families, hey, if you need transportation, you have a friend who's coming to a meeting, try to carpool, because I know taxis can get really expensive, especially here in town, or let's say a meeting location might not be in a very downtown area or walking distance. So I encourage other county councils to take that into consideration too when it comes to where you want to host a meeting, or what time of day would be great to do it at, whether it would be an evening meeting or a daytime meeting. If you need childcare for these meetings, like Deanalyn had mentioned before, how that affects your meetings. But just really trying to find out what your family's needs are, and trying to work best with them to find out how to better serve them, especially when it comes to transportation. So that was my response to that. And if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat box. So thank you.
Thank you, Daisy. Deanalyn, I believe you wanted to add to this conversation about transportation.
Yes, and Daisy, those are all great points. And in Atlantic County, having the meetings spread across, also we have found that the county libraries, the family success centers, as well as having meetings in a centralized location, they have been proven to be effective. So In addition to that, you know, looking at where the meetings are held, you want to look at your bus routes. Where are your community members coming from? And you want to take all of that into consideration when you're choosing a place. Also, again, I'm going to go back to funds that are available through the CCYC proposal, or if there's other agency representatives here that are looking to engage the community, you want to look at what funds can maybe be moved around for client enrichment or client engagement, and look at a reimbursement. So something that we've offered in Atlanta County was two options. One of them was a mileage reimbursement, which means that if the council member would help them get to the meeting, they could record their mileage, and they would hand in a sheet to myself, to the project coordinator, and that would be a conversation that would go out to everyone if that's a need. However, of course, you want to remember about sensitivity of conversation and confidentiality. So you want to put that action out there for all of your members. However, again, if there is someone that does need the reimbursement, you want to have that one-on-one private conversation with them so that they feel comfortable in doing the mileage form, and it's handed to you maybe after the meeting or before the meeting, whether if you have to meet up with them, just to keep that friendship building there and that trust. Again, doing that reimbursement would assist them to get to the meeting. Another option under reimbursement, you would be able to use funds to purchase bus tickets. Again, looking at where your members are coming from, have that conversation with everyone as an option to overcome that barrier. However, look again for that person who has that need and let them know separate. Let them know that you can purchase a bus ticket and work out when it can be dropped off to your council member for them to be part of the group. Also, I think Daisy mentioned this as well with Cumberland County with carpooling. In Atlanta County, in our meetings, we do have different areas. And one of the areas, we do have 2 council members who carpool, and that's an awesome strategy. So get your council members talking about, hey, if there's an emergency or your car broke down, who in here can maybe carpool, or encourage them to exchange telephone numbers in case that should happen. So I think, again, just to add to Daisy, these are some just additional strategies that we can use to help get our consumers and community members to the table.
Thank you so much, Deanalyn. Okay, so we're going to, in a minute, switch gears toward from strategies around childcare and transportation to how we can best network and share mutual problem solving amongst ourselves. But before that, we have another opportunity for you to type in a question and have that answered, and we can discuss your questions. Michelle, do you have any questions for us?
Thanks so much, Debbie. Deanalyn and Daisy, you guys had so much great information, and Tatiana was posting in the chat there that, you know, you guys, you attendees should realize that you have a wealth of information here. Daisy has had 70% retention rate of parents attending meetings, and also they're the first county council for the state. So I hope you have any questions that, you know, you can post now and always contact them later. One question that I do see here is that, has anyone ever used an Uber or Lyft for getting to a meeting? And how would that work?
Deanalyn, Daisy, have either of you ever?
This is Daisy. I've never had a parent suggest say to me that they have used Uber or any other type of form of transportation. So no, from my part.
Us as well in Atlanta County, we haven't had that information come forward yet.
Okay.
Okay, and another question I have here is that this person noticed that there's various counties have spoken, and they're from Essex County, which is extremely diverse and segregated racially and financially. So how would you deal with the issue to get people from all walks of life participating and not just one group of people?
Well, just in general, I think Atlantic County has a high Hispanic population, as well as, Daisy, you can speak for your county, but I think they are both diverse culturally. And I think, again, just utilizing the needs. If you need to have bilingual services, if you need to have your information put in Spanish or other languages to the community that you are trying to reach, that's important. Again, council members are available as volunteers to help translate. There's other programs to assist with that. And I always go back to the friendship building, because a smile is culturally a very diverse language that you can really work with and build that trust, so that it doesn't really affect at first that initial contact, and then you can work out the other barriers of language, getting them assistance with their language that they need, so that they feel comfortable and they would be more likely to participate. Daisy, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I really agree with you, Deanalyn, with the relationship, with the friendship building and the relationship building. Here in Cumberland, we also have a high Hispanic population. And I'm fortunate enough that I am, bilingual and I do speak Spanish. So I've had the advantage of being able to, even when I do outreach, to be able to connect with a lot of the Hispanic community and try to build that relationship and let them know that they can feel comfortable, at least even coming to a meeting or even speaking to me if they had a certain issue to talk about. So I think that's a great tool that I've been able to use, especially going out in the community and meeting families. I also try to make sure that I do translate a lot of the things that I send out, especially flyers, to families both in English and in Spanish, so that they both are receiving the same information. That's been a great tool, especially when I send out the information to different child care centers and like the family success centers and things like that, different agencies. It's been very helpful that they have the information both in English and in Spanish to make it relatable to families. So that's been some of my tools that I've been able to use in my county.
All right, thank you so much. Now, the person who asked that question wanted to kind of clarify their question a little more. It's not really the minority participation. It's more so the wealthier or the upper class, that people who are more affluent in the community that don't participate. So I guess they're asking, what do you do to maybe reach all economic backgrounds of people in your community?
Well, I think on my end in Atlantic County, I took a neutral position in the community. I remember going out to different schools to do info sessions, basically with parent recruitment, and I would go to various school events as well as the park where kids are with their parents. So, again, I hate to say it again, but the friendship building, giving them candy, giving them, giving them candy, at that level, it doesn't matter how much money you have or I have, they're there with their child, enjoying their time, and I'm sharing with them something important, and you make them feel special. You let them know that their feedback is valuable and it's needed. So money, that person may have that barrier of, oh, I don't want to belong to a group, or they may stigmatize a group. But as a coordinator, for myself, I'm neutral. You look at everybody the same, you present it the same way, and it's really up to that person to come on board, and you want the people who want to volunteer, whether they have money or they don't. So candy can also go a long way. Daisy, I don't know, how did you overcome that in your area?
I know from my point of view, I have received feedback sometimes that it's like, especially if you work with an agency or work for an agency, I should say, and when I do a lot of outreach, a lot of people in the community tend to think, oh, well, I'm from a certain status, that's only for people who are in need. And there tends to be that separation that a lot of people tend to think, well, I'm up here, or financially, or you know, or I don't need that because I'm not in need, or a certain program or things like that. But I totally agree with you. I think schools for me have been like the neutral zone. That's where all types of children, all types of families tend to, you know, meet. That's, you know, they're all the same. They're all treated the same no matter what economic status they are. So for me, that has been a great place for me to go and talk to families, especially school workers and things like that, to kind of be like, hey, look, everybody's here is the same. All the families are the same. They're receiving the same type of information because it's a school, and all types of families attend, you know, all types of children from families attend these schools. So for me, that has been my kind of like my neutral zone, where I tend to do a lot of outreach and parent recruitment is at schools.
Thanks so much. Those were fantastic answers. There are no other questions, but there are a couple of comments that I do want to make. So on the Uber question, one person wanted to remind us that the first ride is free, so that's always something good to let your parents know about. And another one of the coordinators in Monmouth County said that some Ubers and taxi companies will do an MOU or a contract with the agency to set up transportation, so that this way you're not worrying about receipts for each time because they have that contract. So that's just some helpful information that a couple of the councils wanted to share. So thanks so much. I guess we can go back to the presentation, but please continue to put your questions in the question box.
Thank you, Michelle. And as you can see, when we have meetings like this, we're able to share some very valuable information and do some problem solving and just get to know each other and do some networking. Daisy right now is going to talk about how they're able to do some networking in the southern region. Daisy.
Thank you, Debbie. Like Debbie had mentioned, networking has been a great tool to use, especially when you're going out in the community and meeting people. And the first thing that you think of as a project coordinator is, oh, you know, I need to network, you know, I need to build those relationships in the community with different providers and different families. But we never, you know, you never really think of, oh, well, yeah, besides the state meeting, I don't really get to see any of the other coordinators. So in the southern region, we decided to start having networking sessions, and we meet probably every other month one time, and it's been a great tool to just be able to sit with the other southern coordinators and really have those conversations about, you know, what's going on in your county, what's going on in my county, what's working well with yours, what's working well with mine. And it's been a great opportunity to be able to not only build relationships with the other coordinators, but be able to, you know, plan on different things, different strategies that you would like to use in your county. We've been able to share information from different agencies that the other counties have partnered with, because there might be an agency that works in, you know, that services, let's say, Camden, Gloucester, and Cumberland, and I may not have known about it, but you know, somebody from Cape May might have known about it and shared the information with me. So it's been a great tool that way, to be able to share information that's happening in the other counties, especially with different providers, to share the resources with our families. Also, it's been wonderful to be able to support each other, because at the end of the day, we're all doing the same job in our counties, and it's just wonderful to be able to support each other in our roles, and to also encourage each other to do the best that we can for our families in the community. It's been wonderful to stay connected. We are in constant communication with each other. If we have ideas, if we have events coming up in our communities that we may not have known about, but others do, it's been wonderful to have that constant communication with each other. And also just great to learn new skills, learn new techniques, because we've all gone through that trial and error kind of phase where I might have tried something that didn't really work, but let's say Deanalyn from Atlantic County has tried something that has really worked with her, even if it was, you know, ideas for parent engagement, or like her ideas for child care that I may not have even thought about. It's a great opportunity to share that and be able to incorporate it maybe in my county because it worked so well in her county. So these networking sessions have been an amazing experience for our region, to be able to share the ideas and be able to build those relationships with each other and support each other in a great way.
Great. Deanalyn, would you like to add to that?
Daisy, I think you nailed it. You said everything that our Southern networking sessions are really all about. And it's just a great group of individuals who, again, share the same work, share the same passion, share the same challenges, and just knowing that you have that support and someone to just talk to when you're having that kind of day and trying to figure out how to troubleshoot something just to make it work for the community, because that's where our passion is. That is just, it's priceless. And so the ladies that you see in the picture, you know, you're all awesome. If you're on the call, I think you all are, and it's just been amazing working with all of you. So again, I just encourage everyone, just like Daisy did in the other counties, please try to get together, exchange numbers, talk, communicate, network, and it's social too. So it's fun, and you know, it's great. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Deanalyn and Daisy. Michelle, do we have any questions, comments?
At this time, we don't have any questions, but I do have a comment. And, you know, what's great about these web-based meetings is, as someone said earlier, people chiming in and kind of answering other people's questions, which is fantastic. So someone wanted to add the suggestion as far as being able to do outreach to all people. This person mentioned that, you know, everywhere that she goes, she talks about the council, whether she's in contact with parents, grandparents. She's very involved in her community. So that's her way of making sure that all walks of life, every part of the community that she has some sort of contact with, is getting information as far as the council. So at this time, that's the only comments or questions that I have.
Okay. All right. So, another strategy that we on the START project have kind of used or created for the councils and to use, besides the in-person networking, another tool that you can use for networking and mutual problem solving is the Shared Strategies Google Doc. The document provides a place for you to input successful strategies, tips, resources, whatever you found to be successful in your work with the councils. This is a shot of the Google Doc. If you visited the page when it was first created back at the beginning of the project, you can see that we've streamlined it a bit to make it more user-friendly. There are only 3 columns now, one each for your name and function on the council, your contact information, and whatever the strategy or resource is that you want to share. Now I'm going to try to do a live demo. Let's see how successful that is. So just so you can get an idea. Okay, so now this is live. This is the Shared Strategies document. You can see shared strategies and mutual problem solving. You can see how in the first column, you put your name, your role on the council, which council you're from, or what organization you're from. You can see Tatiana has inputted SPAN START project. Her contact information, you can put an email or phone, email and phone, whatever is your preferred method of communication in case somebody wants to get in touch with you. Many people in the community may consider becoming involved in the council to help with language from the school district or bilingual, maybe a bilingual church member. So this is a strategy that Tatiana has perhaps used or thought of to address the language barrier issues. And as we scroll down, Deanalyn was kind enough to include a strategy that she's used. When professionals talking about her friendship building. And that's just the way that we can network among each other. The parents can use it. You can put a link on your Facebook page or website if your CCYC has one. And just to show you just a quick demo, I'm going to put my name in, like I said, where I'm from. I'm going to put in my contact information. So if anybody has any questions about what, you know, my strategy, they can give me a call and we can discuss it. And for a strategy, I'm just going to say, whenever I need technical assistance. I call the ladies on the START project because they are awesome. There you go. So there, it's that simple, that easy. So I encourage you to use this resource.
Debbie, show how they can share it. Oh,
Show that. I'm sorry. Okay, I can do that. I
If
just
you have
click that
time.
in there. That's not a problem.
so the idea is that this is can be used by coordinators. This is Diane speaking, but you can also share it with like parents and stakeholders who are working with your council.
So you click on the share link or the share button, and you can copy the link or enter an email. Either way, usually I just copy the link. It's just easier. So you copy the link is copied to your clipboard, and you can include that link either on your Facebook page, web page, in an email, anything. And you're able to share that with your parents, other CCYC coordinators, community partners, anybody who you think is a stakeholder in your council. And like I said, you can put tips in there, chronic absenteeism. I see somebody put a resource in there. You can attach a link so that anybody can have access to this information or this tip or this resource. So again, I encourage you all to use this. It's a wonderful way of networking. Where you don't have to travel. If you're, so even Deanalyn down in the South can network with one of the ladies from the Essex County Council, and you don't have to use your gas. And it's just a very easy way. So I just can't stress enough how much we encourage you to use this and to network with each other. So if you have any questions around that, please type them into the chat box. And in the meantime, Michelle, I think we have another poll.
Yes, thanks so much, Debbie. Yeah, and those were great strategies. That was a great strategy to use, like you mentioned, to really be able to find out what's going on and what works other places when you're looking for suggestions and you have an issue. So, all right, so the next poll is, do you use any of these in your daily work with the councils? So the choices are Facebook, either pages or groups. The next choice is scheduling tools, such as Meeting Wizard or Doodle Poll. The third choice is Twitter. Then we also have Google, either Hangouts, documents, such as the one that we were just showing, or that Debbie was just showing, or Google Calendar, or Dropbox. So if you guys can just take a moment and let us know, do you use any of these? And you can select all that apply. You don't have to just select one. So at this point, only a few of you have chimed in. So if you could just take a minute. I'll probably leave the poll open for another 10 seconds or so. So you could take a moment and just check one or more of the boxes. All right, about half of you have voted. I'm going to go ahead and close the poll and share. I don't know if because none of the above wasn't there, maybe that's why.
Unfortunately, I was limited in my ability.
No, that's fine. I just meant to say that maybe that's why there's not as many participating. But so most people are Facebook. That was 80%. And then also scheduling tool such as Meeting Wizard or Doodle. That was 27%. Twitter 20%. Google 40%. And Dropbox 27%. So it's great that you guys are using the tools that are available. If you have questions on any of these, please call the parent engagement specialist in your area. All right, so for the next poll, we're going to ask the question, which of these would you like more information about? So would that be connecting with families on social media, tools for scheduling meetings, such as Meeting Wizard and Doodle, creating collaborative meeting agendas, sharing resources among councils, and the last one is networking among the councils. So which of these tools would you like more information about? So I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. About 72% of you have responded. And mostly people need information about sharing resources among their councils, such as Google Drive and Dropbox. That's at 76%. And next is networking among the councils at 71%. And then we're also looking at 52% both for tools for scheduling a meeting and then the collaborative meeting agendas. And then the last one is, I guess we all are a lot more familiar with Facebook and Twitter, so connecting families on there. About 38% of you responded that you'd like more information about that. So thanks so much for participating in the poll.
Okay, here we have additional resources. Please take a look at the available resources to assist you in your work on the council, including the Shared Leadership Strategies Google document that we just had reviewed earlier, Serving on Group's Guidebook Curriculum, Start Project Upcoming Events, of course the CCYC Parent Leadership Development Training, and Statewide Parent Advocacy Network, your first stop for information and resources. Back to Michelle with any last minute questions for our presenters, and we wrap up.
Yes, I'm looking here. I don't see any other questions, but someone did want to share that Outlook Calendar is also another tool that can be used for those, trying to find which tool fits what they're doing best. Outlook Calendar is another one. And at this time, okay, wait a minute.
Now let's see if anyone asks for a moment and give them a second to put in. If anyone has any questions or if anyone has other strategies, we can also try unmuting people. If anyone would like to share some strategies that your county council have used around transportation, child care, language access, which has been the focus of today's meeting.
Okay, so if you want to ask a question audio-wise, you just have to raise your hand and we can unmute you. So if there's anyone that wants to ask a question that way.
Or give a comment, share a strategy. Do I see a hand raised?
Yes. Melba, I'm going to unmute you so that you can share your comment or question.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Melba. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. So I'm a college student, and I recently met a girl who is on what they call the overseas program where they study here, and she's bilingual. She showed a really good interest in joining the council because she's interested in child development, and I was excited because she wants to learn about it, and I told her she can always help bilingual parents or speaking in Spanish to parents about the council.
That would be great. I think that's an awesome. So has she joined the council or has she been to?
I'm bringing her the paperwork today so she can, I'm going to show her more about it because I have classes later. And so she's interested in coming to a meeting that we're going to be having November 3rd.
Great.
In Elizabeth, New Jersey.
So which county is that? I'm not
Cumberland
sure.
County.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you. Thank you, Melba.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions?
And someone else wanted to make a comment that the County Transportation Director attended the CCYC meeting, and we brainstormed utilizing the shuttle for the Cumberland County Youth Council meeting as a way to let parents experience using the shuttle. And in our county, parents aren't comfortable using the shuttle, so this would be a concrete support extended to them. So if you wanted to share that. Great.
All right, I think we're just about at the top of the hour. If someone wants to close for us.
I'm going to wrap it up. Again, please free to reach out to our director, Diane Malley, with any additional questions, as well as to your regional parent engagement specialists for additional assistance in implementing shared leadership strategies and developing parent leaders. Don't forget to complete the evaluation surveys as you exit today's web-based meeting. You will be receiving a follow-up email with a link to the recording as it becomes available. Again, thank you very much for joining us today, and we're looking forward to connecting with you and seeing you at the upcoming events. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.